He's no superhero. He's a super villain. Wow. Way to ruin the suspense there, R.L. Stine. And I know I don't normally critique the covers. I haven't even brought mention to the covers since I started this series when Scarecrow walks at midnight. But what the hell is up with that thing in the background? Is that a giant purple and green fire hydrant? The mutant looks cool and all, but what the hell is up with a fire hydrant? Is that supposed to be his headquarters or something? As you can probably tell, this review will be from the point of view of someone reading this particular book for the very first time, so please bear with me. This was the 25th book in the original series, and from what little I have skimmed through it, it's not scary. In fact, this sort of book is something Carl would eat up. Why? Well, let's take a look. Our narrator for this book is one Skipper Matthews, a comic book geek. Hey, he and Carl will get along just fine. Okay, Skipper isn't his real name. His real name is Brad, and no, he's not like the Brad from Resident Evil 3. He just adopted the name because he skips school all the time. Anyway, he's getting into an argument with his friend Wilson about keeping comic books in mint condition, with Wilson, like most people, just thinking that Skipper should just read the things and get it over with. Seriously, unless your dad is Stan Lee, what 13-year-old kid care about the condition of a comic book? By the way, gotta love how the only actual comic book mentioned in this one is Captain America. As far as I can tell, all the others are made up, though I wonder if that Star Wolf comic is set during the events of the Star Fox games. And Wilson's hobby, in case anyone was curious, he collects rubber stamps. You know, I do it rather sparsely, but I collect Gundams, Power Rangers, Transformers, Bionicle, My Little Pony, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Goosebumps books, and the occasional manga. But you know one thing I would not collect? Rubber fucking stamps. Wilson's hobby has a first name, it's B-O-R-I-N-G. I'm getting off track. Oh, another actual comic I forgot to mention. Spod by Todd McFarlane. I'm glad he hasn't mentioned Youngblood yet. If that were to ever happen, this kid and 90s kid would be best buddies. Yeah, in case you haven't figured it out yet, I'll probably be making a lot of Linkara references in this one. Later on, Skipper's dad finds out that his grades have been dropping in. Of course, he blames the comics. Well, to be fair, Skipper does spend a lot of time looking at his comics, and has admitted that he skipped school on a number of occasions to read them, hence the nickname, as I said. So, Dad threatens to throw all the comics out. Skipper promises to try to be a better student and not skip school, which convinces Dad not to go through with the throwing out of the comics. This apparently happens at least once every few weeks. You'd think someone would get tired of this routine. Skipper gives us a little bit of insight about the main character of his favorite comic book, the Masked Mutant. The Masked Mutant is a mutant, no duh, who can turn into anything he wants as long as it's a solid object. He's sort of like Morph from the X-Men cartoon. In fact, this guy probably could be an X-Men character. One, R.L. Stine hands the copy right over to the character, which I don't see happening, and two, he changed the name. Masked Mutant? How generic. I guess this story takes place in one of the northern states during the winter months, because Skipper mentions that it's cold. And judging by the cover, I'd say somewhere in Maine. Why? I don't know, because Nostalgia Rick wants to play the Stephen King drinking game again.
Oh, good God, man, that's been known to kill people!
Anyway, Wilson comes up to him after school and asks Skipper if he wants to see his rubber stamp collection.
Nope!
Skipper can't, though, because he has to get his braces adjusted. While on the bus to the dentist, he meets somebody, a girl named Libby. Skipper already doesn't like her. I don't know why. Any 13-year-old boy in his right mind would love to have a cute girl like her sit next to him on the bus. But I guess Skipper isn't in his right mind. Well, it turns out that Libby has the same hobby as Skipper. She collects comic books. What? Girls can collect comics too. Though her tastes are a bit different than Skipper's. Being a boy, he prefers superhero stories. Batman beating up thugs, Superman tossing Doomsday into the sun, Frank Miller shitting on his own career. Libby? A poor Archie and Jughead ripoff. They get into an argument about what comics are more valuable. Personally, I go for the first edition of Spider-Man What am I saying? That comic sucks. During their argument, Skipper misses his stop, so he gets off at the next stop. The problem is, he doesn't know this part of town. Libby follows him, and almost as soon as they get off the bus, they spot the giant fire hydrant as the evil lair of the Masked Mutant. Yeah, maybe I forgot to mention that the Masked Mutant is a bad guy. Skipper is going pretty much catatonic on the side of this place, but Libby just shrugs her shoulders, says that the architect is colorblind, and compares the place to a blimp standing vertical. In other words, Skipper is... while Libby is...
No surprise!
pretty much. Skipper's still freaking out, so Libby asks if he wants to see her comic book collection. No, the dentist is more important, so Skipper hauls ass to the dentist's office. Most people will be running the other way, you know. And I sure hope his parents make good money because simply walking through the door of the dentist's office costs like 10 grand. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but the point is, it's fucking expensive. The next day at school, Skipper tells Wilson about finding the Masked Mutant's hideout. After Wilson and Skipper spend a few minutes arguing about who gets what sandwich, edge of your seat excitement, Wilson comes to the conclusion that the building was made by the Masked Mutant's creator, not Stan Lee. Okay, the creator's name is Jimmy Steranko, but not Stan Lee works too. Better than Frank fucking Miller. That comic sucks too. Wilson's conclusion makes sense. Too much sense. It seems to imply that the characters in the Masked Mutant comics, the Mutant, the Mighty Molecule Man, Pinky Flamingo, as well as the League of Good Guys, which includes the Galloping Gazelle, played by Adam West in the TV episode and the video game, Dina and Flo, are based on real people. And not just people the creator knew, but actual superheroes and supervillains. Calm down, Linkara. I know you're having trouble containing that erection of yours. Between homework and snow, Skipper has to wait at least a week before he can investigate the building again. And when he finally gets his chance, the thing has disappeared. What, is the building trained the art of ninjutsu or something?
Ninja vanish!
That's when he's met by Libby, who guesses that the building was torn down because of how unsightly it was. Somehow I doubt that, but then again, weirder things have happened. How about a show aimed towards little girls and about a bunch of magic-talking horses being more popular with the 20-something male demographic like myself? That's just odd. Though I don't think I made any secret that I really like that show. Moving on, I think it's a little odd we're a quarter of the way through this book and we haven't seen the villain. In most of the books, we've either seen the villain from the very beginning, such as in Be Careful What You Wish For and Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, or we get vague glimpses until the end, such as in The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight or The Werewolf of Fear Swamp. I guess the idea is to build up the appearance of the Masked Mutant, but at times it just seems like a total tease, especially since he could appear at the end of any chapter, given that R.L. Stine loves putting little suspenseful moments at the end of these chapters. They usually lead to nothing in particular. In his confusion, Skipper agrees to look at Libby's collection of Archie knockoffs. His verdict?
This comic sucks!
That's just his opinion, though. Since this is a novel written in prose, we can't exactly tell and just have to go by what Skipper says. When he gets home, he finds a new issue of the Masked Mutant and starts reading it, though for a moment he's fixated on the Masked Mutant's headquarters on the cover. While reading the comic, it dawns on him. The reason he couldn't see the building earlier was because the mutant put up an invisibility shield. The implications are now that these comics take place during real time. The next day, Skipper and his mom go shoe shopping. He tries to tell her about the building, but being the good mother that she is, she just thinks he's stuck in his comic book fantasy land. Well, she's a better mother than Annette Bergen putting a G-virus sample on her daughter's locket so that her dad can find her in. Well, if you saw my Resident Evil 2 review, you know what I'm talking about. I guess there's no pleasing mom because even something as exciting as dissecting a worm biology class is met with a bored reaction. Hey Mom, take your happy pills.
Pills here!
The next day after school, Skipper meets up with Libby again. They go check out the vacant lot where the garish building was. And what do you know, it literally blinks into existence right before their eyes. The kids step inside and find the place resembles the lobby of an office building, complete with the most hideous wall coloring I've ever seen. Pink and yellow walls? Who does that? Who even does that? Okay, I guess I have to give you that one. The thing is, though, there's nobody around. It's like we stepped into one of Umbrella's abandoned labs. But hey, the elevators work. Libby is a bit nonplussed by this whole thing, whereas Skipper is having a panic attack.
No surprise!
After all, they're in the lair of the Masked Mutant, the titular villain of his own comic book series. Given what Skipper knows about this guy, he's basically Dr. Doom just with the shape-shifting properties, it makes sense for him to freak out. But Libby's still treating this whole thing with the same enthusiasm as Ben Stein. It's climbing to an elevator and it goes down. 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 And it's going down really fast. It finally stops, but the doors won't open. The kids try pulling the doors open. Skipper tries the old open sesame trick, but that doesn't work either. Well, would you look at that? A button marked open.
I missed that.
It's just the basement, nothing special, so they decide to go back to the lobby. Only problem is, the elevator won't fucking work. So they decide to search the basement for a staircase or another elevator or somebody who can help them. During the search, Libby disappears. There's no sign of her, but there is a painting of the masked mutant in the printing press, and it looks like it was done just a little while ago. Well, we can call the search for Libby off for now, because Skipper has found the comic book stash, complete with a sketch of himself. That's when Libby decides to show up just sort of out of the blue, with pretty much no explanation where she was. Okay, she says she found some work in elevators and ignores Skipper when he tries to show her the drawings of them. Wow, what a bitch. They finally make it out and head home. Wilson is waiting for Skipper and he's brought along some stamps to show off. He is dead set on waiting for Skipper to look at those stamps, isn't he? Nobody cares, Wilson. You know, at least when Kara reviewed a lamp, it was done as an April Fool's joke and left at that. You, good sir, have turned this whole rubber stamp thing into a fucking obsession. Enough with the rubber stamps. We don't give a fuck. Skipper tells Wilson about what happened, but this just weirds Wilson out, so he gets home to be with his stamps. Meantime, the new issue of the Masked Mutant is coming, and it has Skipper on the cover, sneaking into the mutant's lair. Nobody will believe him, though, but at least they have an excuse other than the "we don't believe the kid." Dad's cutting onions and the tears are blurring his vision. Okay, it's a lame excuse, but it's what's in the book, so you want to blame somebody, blame Arnold Stein. You know, Slappy would. Skipper takes a few moments to flip through the comic before he has to set the table, and he sees a panel of the Galloping Gazelle asking where the boy is. Said boy being Skipper. As he heads for the lair the next day, he bumps into Wilson, who says he stopped collecting stamps as it took up too much of his time. Good, now he can start collecting good things, like Gundams and Power Rangers. Maybe even invest in some Pokemon cards. The lair is empty, of course, except for a strange, disembodied laugh. Skipper ignores the laughter and gets into a nearby elevator, which starts going up, with no input from Skipper at all. It's almost like someone was expecting him. The elevator lets off at a long, gray, empty hallway, and as he explores, he comes across... Wait for it... the Galloping Gazelle tied up with some thick rope. Naturally, Skipper is amazed that one of his favorite superheroes actually exists, but at the moment I think Mr. Gazelle is a bit more worried about getting free. Skipper frees him, and the Gazelle guesses that Skipper found this place with some super secret sonar technology or some crap like that. No. He just found the place by accident. With the Gazelle free, Skipper is more or less shanghaied into this adventure. They have an obstacle to get past, though. A disintegrator ray that has been turned off. Powerhouse excitement! Either that or the Masked Mutant forgot to pay his disintegrator ray bill. Either answer is good enough for me. They make their way into the study, while the Gazelle is gloating about how fast he can run in the 100-meter dash. For anyone curious, that's less than a second, though I think Rainbow Dash and Sonic the Hedgehog may have been beat. When they're met by none other than the Masked Mutant, who instantly targets Skipper. The Gazelle gets in between them and literally starts running circles around the mutant. Hey, as long as nobody comes by with symbols to interrupt them, it's all good. The only problem with running around somebody is sooner or later, they're going to trip you. That's exactly what happens. The mutant trips the Gazelle, and the dumbass falls right onto the floor. The mutant turns into a leopard and gets ready to finish him off. Get it? Leopards eat gazelles. The Gazelle gets up and runs off, leaving Skipper alone. Wait, hold on. Isn't the Galloping Gazelle supposed to be a superhero? Aren't superheroes supposed to, you know, not run away unless they absolutely have no other choice? Dude, there's a 13-year-old kid here. Just because you trip doesn't mean you should leave him to die, you fucking douchebag. The moral of the story? Don't trust your childhood heroes. They'll just turn out to be either cowards or total dickwads. The mutant, still in his leopard form, tries to find out what Skipper's powers are. but he interprets I don't have any powers as I ain't telling you shit. So the mutant gets ready to deliver the killing blow, but Skipper smacks him on the head with a piece of stone decoration. Or he would. The decoration was a piece of solid steel that weighed more than a fucking cow. The mutant gets ready to pound Skipper to the floor, but they're interrupted by Libby. Wait, where the hell did she come from? She is still not impressed by any of this, and just nonchalantly tells the mutant that she and Skipper are leaving. Yeah, honey? I don't think it works like that. You can't just tell a superhero they are leaving after bursting into his lair. Libby decides to bluff her way out by holding the mutant at gunpoint with a toy gun. Well, her reasoning is that this is a comic book and a toy gun can be a real gun. Libby shoots him and it seems to work, melting him in some kind of liquid substance. And then she turns the gun on Skipper. Well, it turns out there never was a Libby. Instead, she was really the masked mutant in disguise. The one who got melted was the Molecule Man. Not only that, but the mutant, apparently, has been manipulating all the comics that Skipper has read, as well as manipulating Skipper into coming here so that he can end the story with Skipper's death. Skipper naturally doesn't believe him until the mutant tells him that he is now part of the comic book thanks to a scanner Skipper passed earlier. So Skipper decides to play along and make a superhero persona of himself. The Colossal Elastic Boy. His rule? No crossovers. The two have a bit of a gloating contest before Skipper tricks the mutant into turning into acid, which the mutant idiotically does. Remember, he can only turn to solid objects, not liquids. So yeah, Skipper beat the masked mutant by means of stupidity on the mutant's part. Skipper goes home and plays a few rounds of frisbee with his sister. I didn't mention her until now because she's really not important. At dinner, he accidentally cuts himself, but instead of bleeding red blood, he bleeds black ink. And that's where this one ends. Gotta say, this one wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was okay, but not that great. Skipper's a little too obsessed with his comics, so that saves his ass at the end, and everyone other than Libby amount to, well, not a whole lot. His parents are hardly in this one. Wilson's too busy trying to show off his rubber stamp collection, and like I said, I never even bothered to mention his sister because she had no part to play in this story. The Galloping Gazelle was played up to be this great superhero, but instead he ended up being super lame-o. And the Masked Mutant, well, mostly all he did was gloat and let out the occasional evil laugh. Pretty much norm for most comic book supervillains of the time, unless they were made by Rob Liefeld and Frank goddamn Miller. But we're almost done. The movie comes out in a month and a half, and at the time I'm writing this anyway. And you know what? I'm not going to have you guys wait an entire month for the next one. How about 1 week? So I'll see you then with what many people call a true classic of the original Goosebumps series.
Away, I'm just a breath away, losing my faith today.
Falling off the edge today.
I am just a man, not superhuman.
I'm not superhuman.
Someone save me from the haze. It's just another war, just another family torn.
Falling from my feet today.
Just a step on the edge, just another day in the world we live. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero.
Save me now.
I need a hero to save my life. A hero will save me.
Just in time.
I've gotta fight today to live another day. Speaking my mind today.
My voice will be heard today.
I've gotta make a stand, but I am just a man.
I'm not superhuman.
My voice will be heard today.